So let's get to the Wizards, because what they did is they did trade Marcin Gortat, and you can talk about what he was. Chemistry issue. There was a lot of talk about that, and they get Austin Rivers, who's a big-time scorer off the bench, I think.
Yeah, I'll start with Austin first. I think there's a ceiling and a floor for him here in D.C. on this one-year deal. I think the floor for him is to be a solid contributor. I mean, solid. I'm talking about anywhere between 12 to 15 points, can play both guard positions, and just solid, right? I think the ceiling for him is Sixth Man of the Year candidate, because I feel like he can play with John and Brad, and potentially all three of them can be out there together. Because, again, as we talked about before, everyone's trying to catch up with Golden State, right? So you've got to have guards. You've got to have wing players. If you put Wall, Rivers, and Beal out there together with, let's say, Otto and Keith, that's a pretty good five lineup, because now you're switching everything, right? And no longer will people be like, well, the rub with Gortat was that John didn't play defense. Okay, well, take John off the ball and have John guard the two guard, or have Brad guard the two guard, or have John guard that small wing guy. So I think the versatility that Rivers brings is a positive. Again, there's a floor and a ceiling for him. The Gortat situation was, it had gotten to a point where they had to move on, both sides, because at some point the Wall-Gortat dynamic needed to change. Gortat's not a bad dude. Just from talking to him, he was tired of everything, and he wanted somewhere else to go, which I totally get that, guys. When you've been around this league long enough, you're around these dudes more than you're with your family, and at times, after 3, 4, 5 years, it's time for a change. So I feel like with the Gortat dynamic out of that locker room, it might free guys up more to be maybe a little more expressive with one another without their feelings getting in the way. So I thought it was a good move for March, and I thought it was a great move for the team.
So who's the starting center opening day right now?
Well, it'd be John Mahimi.
Mahimi? Cakes love that.
Look, I don't hate him as a player. I hate the fact that he makes $17 million and is strangling the salary cap for the Wiz, matched to his level of production.
Hey, I read that Dwight Howard had some interest in the Wizards, and they were negotiating a buyout in Brooklyn. I know he also wants to play with LeBron, so I'm sure he'll probably lean to LeBron. But is that something you've heard?
Yeah, I think that's in play from what I've heard. If you can get Dwight on a one-year deal, again, hoping that he puts his best foot forward, because he rubs people the wrong way, and it doesn't take long for him to do that. And some of his other stops. I mean, listen, he played for his hometown Atlanta Hawks team. They couldn't wait to get him out of there. I mean, that to me tells me, like, did he really want to be there? But I feel like in a one-year deal where he's trying to prove himself and get back into the good graces of other teams, he's got to play well wherever he goes. And he fits a need with Washington. I mean, you talk about just forget the scoring part, just the rebounding and shot blocking. I mean, when was the last time this Wizards organization had a guy like Dwight Howard at the 5 position?
I don't know. Wes Unseld?
It's been quite a while.
Hey,
I said that yesterday. I thought maybe Wes.
Yeah. With the say that they because now Rondo's there, so Lonzo Ball is probably gone. They'll probably move him in some fashion. So let's just say the Lakers move Ball and Brandon Ingram and maybe a pick or another player, and they get Kawhi, and the Lakers have Rondo at point. They got Pope at 2 or Stevenson. They've got Kawhi at small. They've got LeBron at power, and they've got whatever center. You give them a shot against either Houston or Golden State.
No shot against Golden State. They have a chance against Houston, because I think the thing that's been undersold during this entire free agency, Houston lost Trevor Ariza, man. He was really the glue. I mean, when we were talking about Draymond Green being the glue, I mean, Trevor Ariza is going to be a piece. I think they're going to. Lakers team. Could we not talk about basketball? Just talk about just the reality show every night, watching that crew. I mean, listen, I'm staying up at 10:30 every night just to watch Lance do something, Rondo do something, JaVale doing something,
right,
and then LeBron just shaking his head like, what did I get myself into? I mean, that will be must-see TV every night, watching just that dynamic of players out there with the Lakers.